For a moment, I misconstrued a spoken word artist to a motivational speaker. A spoken word artist talks or has the prowess that a public speaker has among a host of them. This is the Campus Show here with me and Yopon Dinchi on Yopon Online TV. Let's take our quote for the week. You're warmly welcome back to the Campus Show here with me and Yopon Dinchi. I believe you got inspired by the quote you just watched or you just heard. This is the Campus Show here with me and Yopon Dinchi on Yopon Online TV, where we speak to young people doing so well in their space and whatever they do. On today's segment, we're talking about the power of spoken word poetry. And I'm doing this with a young person who is doing so well in his space in the spoken word industry or fraternity, how you call it. I'll introduce him in a bit.
Enough. You've drained you a lot. You've damaged yourself a lot. You've delayed a lot. You've discussed you a lot. You've spoken you a lot. You've strangled you a lot. You've compromised you a lot. You've doubted yourself a lot. You've pledged and pledged you a lot. It's enough of the steps you don't want to risk with your steps. Enough of you talking your reason with trash.
Kwabena Churchill, branded as Momo Man of Many Colors, is an all-theme spoken word poet and a public speaker. He writes several genres of literature, poems, short stories, drama, and novels. Kwabena is an inspiring novelist, aspiring animator, and a proven spoken word poet who has performed on different platforms. His pieces are heart-touching and mind-blowing. Additionally, Kwabena has co-authored an international anthology titled To the Fired Flames with 3 others from India, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe. He is an alumnus of the University of Cape Coast and studied psychology. Kwabena hopes to make a national and global transformation through his riveting expressive craft.
Guys, I present to you Churchill.
Aspire
to inspire. Wow. Churchill, you're welcome to the show. And you being man of many colors, I'm sure today, myself coupled with my audience, we'll see many colors of you here. And then we'll also try and not only put ourselves in your shoe, but try to develop ourselves in many ways as we can to develop our world. So, sure. I know you are Churchill. I've read a bit about you. Could you tell us a bit to know you more? Something that wasn't in your bio as I read to you. Just a bit about you.
Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. Okay. My name is Kwabena Churchill, and that is the brand name for my spoken word poetry and my acts.
Okay.
But I'm officially called Alex Yeboah.
Alex Yeboah.
Alex Yeboah. Yeah. That is my, let's say, someone would say legal name.
Okay. So where is the Churchill coming from?
Okay. The
Churchill is your stage name.
Is my stage name.
Wow.
And that Churchill, I used the church and I added the ill.
Good.
So,
not cutting short before coming, but you know we have a name called Churchill. Back in JHS, I have a friend called Churchill. So I wasn't surprised when you told me you are Churchill. Yeah. Until just last week, I was speaking to a friend of ours whom we know together. That's Diane. She mentioned Alex, and I was asking who is Alex, and then he was telling me you are Alex, and I said, okay, I never knew, or I didn't know you are called Alex. So Churchill is not your birth-giving name, as we call it.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So the Churchill came from church, then hill.
Yeah.
Hill as in what per se?
Okay, so church in a hill, and you see, church symbolizes, let's say, an assembly, right? And the hill has to do with the peak of something.
Wow.
So adding them together is an extraordinary man who exceeds expectations.
Wow.
So Kwabena, the extraordinary man.
Yeah.
Kwabena Churchill, man of many colors, and I do a whole lot of things. As you rightly said, I'm level 300 UCC reading BSc Psychology, and a spoken word poet, a novelist, animator, and also someone who seeks to be part of the giants under drama.
Churchill, or Alex, as you are called. But I prefer to call you Churchill, as how do I now know you are called Alex? I think Churchill, Churchill per the meaning you don't like Alex.
I like Alex.
Why are you saying you don't like Churchill? You don't like you like Alex. So you like the Churchill.
Churchill.
Oh, wow. But Churchill, even per the meaning that I've heard, also brings some sort of a conceptualized, inspiring journey with it. So I think the Churchill is good to go. Churchill, how was life when growing up? Which school did you go to here as you have gotten to UCC? Which school, JHS, SHS, and how was life basically when growing up?
That's a great question for me. I did not only spend my childhood at one place, different places. So
Okay.
I was first at Tema Newtown,
Tema Newtown,
yeah,
okay.
where I attended
Which part of Tema Newtown?
Tema Newtown. I was staying at Manya.
Mayam.
Yep.
Wow.
Manya.
Wow.
Manya. So I attended Manya TMA Primary School.
Mhm.
Before that, I went to NAC Memorial School.
Okay.
So I left there. I came to my parents' place, my mom's place at Aguna Kwenyako.
Aguna Korean.
Aguna Kwenyako,
Where is it?
Central Region, around Suedru
Area.
area.
Okay.
And I completed my SHS at the Roman Catholic School, that is Aguna Kwenyako. Then I continued at Saban Presbyterian Senior High School,
In Sabang.
In Sabang.
Presbyterian
Senior High
High
School, known as Central Presec, because it's the
Okay.
only Presby SHS in the Central Region. So it's called Central Presec. Then I continued to this place, UCC.
UCC. I met Churchill on Samira Baumien's writing prize, which she posted on her Instagram page, I think in 2020 or 2021. And I want to contest in that prize. It's a writing project, writing on a story whereby a title has been given. So under the comment section, I think I was having a difficulty on something. So under the comment section, people that are commented, I tested them on Instagram, and then for them to help me with what I was struggling with, and I chanced on Churchill with a few other people, but I kept contact with Churchill, and then I said this guy is doing so well, but the things not only putting on his status, but the things he has been doing, some of the inspirational things or write-up he does and all that. So I've taken a long trip from Accra here in Cape Coast to interview him as we are seeing here, which I believe will get inspired and all that. So I want to believe that when growing up, you've been a writer, a novelist, you have co-authored, blah blah blah. I want to believe that you kind of had a bit of either passion or whatever, like when growing up, of writing. As you have told me, you went from this Tema, you came to Aguna Studio, isn't it?
Yes.
Ezali. During this journey, were you having the passion or a thought of even becoming a writer or doing these things?
Oh yes, I would say I've always been a writer.
You've always been a writer.
Yes.
Since when?
Since from childhood.
When you say childhood, when exactly?
Okay, I would say primary.
Since primary, okay.
Class 4.
Wow.
That was where I started writing. But I started with songwriting.
Write songs as well?
Yes, I write songs as well. So I'm a singer.
No longer, or you do?
I still write songs.
I didn't know that. Wow.
I still write songs.
Okay, but you don't sing?
I sing as well.
You sing as?
I'm a singer. That is a man of many colors. Meaning man of different arts.
I understand. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're more than Rainbow. Or you're more than the SDG. Well, guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below if it's more than the SDG. Okay.
Yes. So that's class 5. Then I started writing the short stories.
Wow.
It was inspired by my creative art teacher, who was then called Madame Duka.
Madame Duka.
Yes, she brought some idea of rewriting stories, short stories from selected themes. Let's say gratitude, hope, love, all of them. So I started by writing short stories. Until then, we had some visitors from Canada, UK. One of them, they came to help us.
Sorry for cutting short. I must believe this stage is at Tema Newtown.
No, this was at Kwenyako.
Okay.
Yes. So at that, when they came, they first took us through a drama that was written by William Shakespeare.
Wow.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So from there, I developed the interest to writing poetry.
Then, Churchill, I must say, since the 80s, as they will say, is when you started.
Yes. So most of my teachers, the primary, they know that I'm a poet. I write poems.
Okay.
Yes, I write short story too as well.
Yeah. So starting at that time at class 4.
Yes.
Whereby your teacher helped you to write on on such themes. I'm sure with everything, as with in the beginning, there are struggles and all that. Even when you even get to the middle part of the ending, or at a point there'll be struggles. But as you were beginning, what were some of the challenges you experienced at that time that couldn't break you down, that didn't let you give up, or what really happened if it did? Because you are now starting, I think you have now found your feet in this new thing, and although you think you can write, I'm sure it was a new space and everything for you.
Yes.
How was the feeling like? What were some of the challenges you experienced at that time in class
That
four? Because
time.
now you can't compare now to that there.
Sure.
So at that time, how was it?
Okay, it was, let's say, I would say it's something. I don't have a name for that particular
for that
feeling.
experience,
Yeah, for that
okay.
because I did it out of, let's say, some intrinsic something
Okay.
inward. So though the support wasn't there, as in me bringing them into books or any other thing, but the fact that I was getting my teachers to read and like what
teachers were reading it.
I have a teacher one who was always reading my poems, called Mr. Edu. He's there right now as I speak.
Wow.
Yes, so
Mr. Edu, hello. Thank you
Yeah.
for inspiring our brother here. Although that wasn't much as we can right now, but
yeah,
he did something.
yeah, a lot. Like if I'm to say a lot of the teachers, I will not finish mentioning their names.
Okay, so that inspiration from your teachers kept you going.
Kept me going. Already, I felt joyful whilst writing, because the more I write, the more people come around. My friends reading my poem said, "Hey, Alex, what you are doing is nice. So one day I'll let you write something for me." So that's zeal of me writing it for my satisfaction, but not less it for money or any like me bringing them into books kept me going. Though I faced challenge where sometimes when I write a piece, someone will read, the person will say, "This piece doesn't make sense.
Wow.
This piece is nothing."
But I saw that this kind of a blow. I always say people like to judge, people in general, but there are times or ways you could do it. The person who made, and I'm sure it made you strong, which he has done now. But there are ways you could say it. Oh, that's excellent. But I think this thing doesn't really carry weight. Something of that sort could encourage you, but yes, to learn something of it. But if you just bluntly say it, this doesn't make sense, it really discourages the person. So that was what you experienced.
Yes, and I will always say that art is my life.
Art is your
Art
life.
is my life. Everything of mine is art. Yes, everything of mine is art. So that feeling of you doing it for yourself and making sure that you get some self-fulfillment kept me going.
It being as a self-fulfillment for you through primary school, you get to JHS where you still writing.
I was still writing even at the SHS.
You still write. So both at SHS and JHS, you being in primary, your teachers were more supportive and reading it and giving you this thumbs up and all that. Was it the same at the JHS level and the SHS level? Because I'm sure you had different teachers now.
Oh yeah, JHS do the same. I had teachers who were showing interest in. I kind of stopped JHS for a bit.
You stopped?
Yes, I paused.
Okay.
For a while. Then I came back again.
Why? What happened? What happened for the? What caused the pause?
I don't even know what happened.
Okay, you maybe felt you want to
put a stop.
Okay,
then I realized that something has left me. I don't have a part of me on that journey.
And this is something has left you.
Yes,
how?
let's say, okay. You see, you may have something that you do that brings joy to you. And when you stop doing that thing, you feel like there is something missing in your
You
life.
stop feeling. And you're talking of the portion or the time that you stop doing writing. Something left you. Yeah, I think I get it. And something will do leave you, because I'm sure you have an enormous passion for writing. So for you not writing for a period of time, it won't be the same as you writing. As I'm interviewing like this, it's something I love doing. And if I stop for a moment or for some time, I don't really know what will happen though, but it's not going to be the same as you were doing it. Okay, so now let's come back to the grounds of UCC where we are now. How did you get here? I'm sure you wrote Wasi and you passed
Oh,
and became
yeah.
but were you having has this place always been your dream school to be?
Yes.
Or maybe you wanted to go to somewhere and then this place has been your dream school to be.
Yes.
So are you holding any position in school?
Holding position. Let's see. When it comes to the school position, there, I'm not holding any position, but I have organizations I'm part of where I hold some positions.
Wow.
Yes.
On
So
campus.
on campus.
And they are
One is the PD, Passion Developers Association.
Passion Develop Association. Wow.
Yes.
That would be an interesting group.
It's a great group.
What do you do there? What's your position?
Okay, I'm the poetry director there.
Poetry director.
And
what? Okay.
the group is founded by Pastor Lucius.
Pastor Lucius.
Pastor Lucius Amond. He's very popular on campus.
Oh, here on campus.
He's very great. He's a great man.
Okay.
So when I came to UCC, I asked people, do we have any poetry association on campus?
Wow.
So when I came in, a friend of mine told me that there is this group. If I join, it will help me a lot. So when I joined, at first I was speaking, but I was not that into it. When I joined the team, that's boosted me more to go into speaking. But I was not doing the speaking more than I was writing.
Coming to the crux of the matter here, the power of spoken poetry. Let's talk about it briefly, and then when we say spoken poetry, what is it?
Okay, spoken poetry is a kind of poetry where we artistically use words to create meaning, in which these words are performed but not recited. These words are performed but not recited, and most of the times they are performed in accompaniment with music. So spoken word poetry is a kind of poetry which we use words, and in these words we perform them.
Okay,
We don't recite them.
You perform them.
We perform those words. But others will say you minister.
Okay. How shall I use
But
the word
me-
minister?
Yeah. I see that you perform those words to people.
Those words. Wow.
And they are in accompaniment with music.
Okay.
Music, either beats. Maybe someone can even play drums, a guitar and everything. You can use it as a spoken word poetry.
So you can't perform without music or whatever the sound.
Okay. You can choose to perform without music, sorry. And that kind of style,
Or it won't be entertaining.
it won't be entertaining
to the extent of
you
you using.
But we have another kind of poetry where we don't use music or any beat. It's only raw.
Okay.
But there is time. There are rules against it. By spoken word poetry, there are no rules. No one is giving you marks over there. And that one that they give marks that you perform without any music or beat, it is called a slam poetry.
The slang.
The slam poetry.
The slam
That's why you'll
poetry.
be hearing that there is a poetry slam here. With that one, it's a competition.
Okay.
So when you go there, there are guidelines, there are rules, they score you.
Okay.
But with spoken word poetry, we do it in accompaniment with music, beat, or maybe guitar, like any sound of, let's say, sound, any sound.
Any sound.
Yeah, you can use
Does spoken word poetry pay?
it. It pays.
And then does it pay in Ghana?
Oh, yes. Spoken word poetry pays a
And
lot.
It pays. So when
pays a lot.
when you say pays, it pays across all in the globe. But I'm also talking about Ghana, where you are now.
Ghana. Oh, yes. Spoken poetry pays a lot.
So you get money.
Yes.
Wow. So guys, don't as you join us with your comments, make sure you give us your Momo alert or your Momo number. Whilst Churchill here will send us a Momo when he gets paid. So are you looking forward to taking this as a career?
Yes. I would say it would be a career of mine. A part of, let's say, part-time.
It will be a part-time
career. Where I have my own career.
Okay. Which is
being a psychologist, a counseling psychologist.
A counseling psychologist.
Yes. A counseling psychologist.
Then you
I'm a spoken word poet
poetry
as well.
alongside.
Yes.
Now, what does it entail for one to become a spoken word poetry? As I'm sitting here, I've gotten inspired by the things I've said so far and what I normally see on your status. If I want to get into it, what are some of the tricks, two or three things I need to know or do to become a spoken word poetry, a poet?
First, know poetry. What is poetry?
Okay.
Yes, because if you don't know something, you can't do it. Good. As you are a journalist, I believe that you learned it. You researched on it before you became a journalist, right?
Yeah.
Good. So if you want to become a poet or a spoken word poet, know poetry. Learn the art.
Okay.
And as you learn the art, there are some things that you have to know. What it entails to write a poem and perform a poem, how to perform it, who to perform to, where to
Okay.
perform,
All those things.
all these things.
Wow.
Because you cannot just be a poet and say that you don't know how or you don't know all these patterns. So I want to be a poet. What makes me a poet? I know poetry. What is a poem? What entails a poem? So you knowing all these things, that is the ground for you.
Okay.
Then you seek to fashion yourself into the spoken poetry you want to do. But you have to know what the poetry is. What are the features of a poem?
Okay.
Because as we have drama, there are features for a drama. There are features for novels. So every
Exactly.
art has its own take.
Yeah.
So as a spoken word poet, you have to know what a poem entails and what a spoken word is. Because poem is different from spoken word
Yeah.
poem.
Poem on its own, but does it have any correlation in poem and then the spoken poetry?
I will say poem is wide,
Okay, so the
broad.
spoken poetry falls
under
it.
Yes.
Okay, so my final question is: what challenges, as you've been encountered to us, a bit of the challenge you faced when you were in class, when you were starting? What challenge do you face as a whole with your spoken poetry?
The challenge I would say I face when it comes to my spoken word poetry is what to write on.
What to write?
Write on.
What
I
to
want
write?
to just say it is a challenge when you don't know what to write on.
Yeah,
Because we all want to put out something
exactly.
good. So if you can't write, that is a challenge.
Okay.
So, but in order for you to avoid this challenge or solve this challenge, you have to seek for ideas. And in you seeking ideas, you have to be opportunist.
Okay.
You have to be opportunistic.
When it's opportunistic, what do you mean by opportunistic?
I mean that always seek for inspiration. Find inspiration in everything.
Okay.
As we are talking now, I can draw inspiration from what we are doing.
What we are doing together.
What we are doing today.
Wow. I see.
Wherever I go, I draw inspiration from there.
Okay.
So one basic aspect that most writers face, they call it the writer's block, where the ideas are not coming. That they will say that I'm short of ideas.
Okay.
That will be a very big challenge. So in order for you to avoid this, what you have to do is that read wide.
Wow.
Read
And
very
I
wide.
must believe
Yes.
you read a lot.
I read a lot. Because the way the world is moving, if you are a poet and you tell me that you will not read, forget. You will be an old school.
Yeah.
Because you will always bring something old. The trends of this world, they are on a different level. So as a poet or even as a writer, what you must do is that always read wide. Try to talk with people, share ideas. Those ideas will give you more ideas to write on. Mind map, brainstorm on situations. You can just go back to the past. What was happening? SHS, what was happening? One event can make you write something. And you being a poet, you must be real. You don't have to lie.
Okay.
You must be real.
When you say lie, what do you mean by
I
lie?
mean that don't just say something without you relating to something which is happening.
Okay. And okay, I get where you're going, but can't it be in a novel? You being what word should I use? You see, in novel writing,
Yeah.
you need to create the story to the extent that I don't call it lying. You're trying to kind of make the story real. So you say things that happen. Is it not so in poetry?
It is.
Uh-huh.
So in poetry, things we relate things to unrelated things.
Okay.
Just like someone can use cartoons to write a piece on childhood. Let's say parents teaching their child on something. There is one guy, there's this spoken word poet on Instagram. He used the cartoons Ben 10,
Okay.
Dora, to say something about parenthood. So you being real is that you being original. Don't fake the idea. Write something which is on fact that people can connect to. That will make you stay in the memories of people.
Okay. So, Checho, thank you so much, guys. Because of time, this conversation can go on and on, but because of time, we need to end here. Before he leaves, I want him to put his social media handles there. Then you give us your last words.
I'm on Instagram. On Instagram, the name is Kwabena Churchill Voices. On Facebook, it is Kwabena Churchill MOMC. And also on LinkedIn, I'm Alex Yeboah, the bracket Kwabena Churchill MOMC. And on YouTube, Asempa Poetry. My final words to us all, everyone listening to me, that you are a writer of anything. What I will tell you is that you must have these things in mind. Always have a content, have a message. Be credible. What are you going to tell others? What have you done? Also, have a style. Have your style. You have to learn your art. If you are a novelist, you have to learn your art. If you are a dramatist, learn your art. Like whatever you are doing, learn it and learn very well. Don't be an insular. If I say an insular, I mean to say that don't say that you only have the ideas to yourself. Learn from others what they are doing. Learn from your friends. My last thing I will say is that know your audience. Every message you want to put out there, know your audience and make sure that your audience get it and get it right.
I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Woz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30. And then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still loved what I did.
We are going to make it or break it based on whether we can provide products to higher education and services and relationships to higher education that no one else provides. And I think we ought to spend 100% of our time thinking about that. And if we can't do that, then we ought to go broke.
And so I decided to start over. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. During the next 5 years, I started a company named Next, another company named Pixar, and fell in love with an amazing woman who would become my wife. I'm pretty sure None of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. So keep looking, don't settle.
Yeah, warmly welcome back to the campus show here again with me and Yopon Denchi on Yopon Online TV, getting inspired by Churchill, the man of many colors, as he has explained to us what it means to become a spoken word poet among a host of them. Churchill, Charlie, you are great. You are great. We are really inspired by the level of knowledge you have given us and the advice you give us. But guys, we are here currently on our fun segment, which I love mostly on the show, to find out how smart my interviewees are, which I must believe that my interviewee here is very smart. Someone who can stand in front of people and speak and write is someone you should look out for. But before we go into the real games, I am asking him one riddle so that we kick the game start. And the riddle is, you have 3 chances.
Okay.
Which word in the dictionary is spelled incorrectly? Which word in the dictionary is spelled incorrectly?
Incorrectly.
Incorrectly.
Yep.
And that's correct. Charlie, you're smart. Good. So this is the fun segment now. The rule of the game is, we are having these disposable cups and we are arranging it on each other upside down. And then I think, so something like this. So you do something like this. This is a bit trickish, but you need to help yourself, as I believe I'll help myself. You do something like this. No. Something like this. So you fit it like this and try and hold it and turn it left or right. The one who is able to do it on time
Without
the cup falling, then you win the game. So I think the game, after fixing mine, so the game starts now. Let's try our best. Wow, guys, I think mine fell and Churchill got me there and was able to answer the riddle question I asked him and then was able to win the game here. This is the campus show, as Churchill, our guest, has encouraged us to be a spoken word poet. There's so many things we can do with this, by writing and by reading as well. Let's try our possible best to read to motivate ourselves. So the question of the day we are asking you out there is that what differentiates you from other spoken word poets? As our interviewee has said, these basic important things that you need to do as a spoken word poet. The question is, what differentiates you from other spoken word poets? My name is Andy Opondinchi. Drop your thoughts and your answers in the comment section below and tell us how you think this thing can help you. See you soon on the flip side.